Most people who move to Quebec don't run out of money. They run out of margins. They still pay their bills. They still go to work. They still look fine from the outside. But internally, their financial system stops working the way they expected. And that's when stress begins. In my last video, I said I would walk you through the real numbers people underestimate when they move to Quebec. Not guesses, not averages, real math. Today is that video. Because the biggest financial mistake people make when relocating to Quebec is not miscalculating on one expense. It's building the wrong financial model entirely. If you're planning a move, this is the video you watch before you commit to anything. I'm Gabriela. I'm a licensed real estate broker in Quebec. I work with people during one of the most financially fragile moments of their lives, relocation. Not when everything is stable, not when everything is already settled, but when decisions are still flexible and mistakes are still avoidable. What I'm going to explain today is not opinion, it's pattern recognition. It's what happens repeatedly when people move to Quebec, assuming their money will behave the same way it did somewhere else. It doesn't. And that difference matters more than people expect. Before we go further, I need to set expectations. This is not a budgeting video. This is not a price list, and this is not a how much rent costs breakdown. This is a financial behavior video. Because people don't struggle in Quebec because things are expensive. They struggle because money flows differently here. And once you understand that flow, everything else becomes clearer. One of the most common things I hear is, I make good money. I don't understand why it feels harder than expected. This usually happens to people who did their homework. They compared salaries, they looked at job offers, they checked tax calculators, they ran the numbers. And on paper, everything worked. But paper match is not life match. In Quebec, the distance between gross income and usable income feels different once you're living it. Not because taxes exist. Everyone knows taxes exist. But because the impact shows up everywhere else. Housing choices get tighter. Flexibility disappears faster. Unexpected expenses hit harder. What changes is not income. What changes is margin. And margin is what gives you peace of mind during a relocation. And this is where most people's financial model starts to break. When people calculate affordability, they usually start with housing, rent, mortgage, price comparisons. And yes, Quebec can look more affordable than other major cities. But most people calculate entry cost, not lived cost. They look at the rent number. They don't look at heating realities, maintenance realities, location trades-off, transportation implications. A cheaper home that costs more time, energy, or transportation money is not cheaper. It's redistribute the expense. and redistribute the expense are harder to track, which makes them more dangerous. This is why people say, I don't know where the money is going. It's going everywhere, quietly. And this is still the part people understand best. The next part is where most people get it wrong. Transportation is one of the most underestimated financial factors when moving to Quebec. People assume public transit will replace a car. Distances are manageable. Winter won't change habits much. But transportation affects everything. Where you live, where you work, how long your days feel, how much energy you have left, and time has a cost. When transportation planning is off, people don't feel it immediately. They feel it once routine settles. Once winter hits, once schedules tighten. By then, the setup is expensive to change. This is one of the main reasons people feel financially squeezed even when their salary looks fine. Winter in Quebec is not just weather, it's a financial season. Heating, clothing, transportation wear, lifestyle changes. People budget for winter in theory. They don't budget for winter in reality. And because winter is predictable, people underestimate it. They assume they'll adapt. Adaptation costs money. And it costs it slowly. And now we reach the part almost no one plans for. Relocation is not one moment. It's a series of transitions between jobs, between systems, between approvals, between stability points. Those gaps are expensive because during transitions, you often pay full price for temporary solutions. Short-term housing, duplicated services, temporary transportation. These costs don't feel permanent, so people don't respect them, but they erode savings faster than expected. This is where people lose margin. This is something I hear often. I don't understand why it feels heavier than expected. Most of the time, the issue is not income, it's structure. Money without structure feels stressful, even when there is technically enough. Financial stability comes from predictability. And predictability comes from understanding how systems interact. This is exactly why I created a Quebec relocation checklist. Not to tell you what to do, but to help you see what to consider before committing. It's the same framework I use with private clients who want clarity instead of guesswork. If you're planning a move, you'll find it in the description. Quebec can be a great place to live, but affordability is not about numbers alone. It's about structure. If you understand the structure, Quebec can work very, very well. If you don't, even a good income can feel heavy. That's why preparation matters. Watch this before you decide anything.